Thanks to the support as a channel member, Owen Bellamy. Remember how I said our defence was fine and we had to fix the other areas of the pitch? Well, of the 6 signings I've made since the last episode, 4 of them were centre-backs. Operation Don't Get Relegated is in full swing. Hello and welcome to Club 2, Part 3 of Non-League to Legend. I'm Kevin. Coming up on today's episode, we have a game for you in the FA Cup against Nottingham Forest, and we're also at home against Middlesbrough in the Championship. Since you were last with me, we've not played a lot of games, but of the 4 games we've played, we've won 2 of them. I'm serious when I say Operation Don't Get Relegated is in full swing. The Championship table looks like this. I mean, it doesn't look any prettier than it did before, position-wise. We're still 1 point above the relegation zone in 21st place, but the really important thing is we're 7 points clear of that relegation zone, where Birmingham, Millwall and Charlton are starting to look increasingly like, fingers crossed, they're already down, and we just need to carry on in the good form that we're slowly taking ourselves into. If we have a look at the form table over the last 5 games, you can see that that would put us lower mid-table, which that would be an exceptional outcome if we could end up finishing anywhere near there. And the media, I mean, I was going to say the media, I think at some point we were up here, maybe I dreamt it. The idea was that was going to be really smooth, and the media think it's possible to, no, they don't. The media think we're in a relegation battle. They're not very impressed with the transfers that I've done since the last video. I think they're important. There is a method to it. Before you all criticise me, there's a method. We're going to go through who's left first. Then I'll explain why I've signed 4 centre-backs. It does sort of make sense. So in the last episode, I think we'd got as far as Ben Christine leaving on loan. We sold Jack Simpson as centre-back. See, it's starting to make sense. There's 1 centre-back sold there. Toby Collier left as well. He's a central midfielder. He went to Forest Green for 195,000. Connor Barron went out on loan until the end of the season. Kyle Dempsey went out on loan to the end of the season. I know what you're thinking. These are all central midfielders. Liam Shaw, I don't know the difference between a centre-back and a central midfielder, apparently. And we also loaned out Jaden Philogene Bidachi as well, mainly because I can't say his name. If I learn to say his name, we might bring him back in, but I don't want to keep making a fool of myself and potentially offending him. And then the players that we brought in, this is where the logic comes in. Firstly, Fabio Guzman is 17 years old. He is one for the future. He has not been signed with a view to using him now, but he was sat there in the Bolton under-18 team, not really doing anything, popped up on my scout report with 5-star potential and was available for nothing. So when you're offered a 5-star potential, or okay, 84 grand, when you're offered a 5-star potential youngster who also happens to be a 6'5" centre-back at 17 years old, when you offered him for less than 100 grand, you say, yes, please, have you got any more? Unfortunately, they didn't have any more, but we did get him, and he'll go out on loan, and he's one for the future. So he doesn't even count. Mustafa Kilic, you already knew about. He's a 6'4" centre-back, came in from Fenerbahce, and he is there to drift into the team over the next year or so. Again, not been brought in with a view to playing him straight away, more one for the future. We then went and decided to start fixing other areas of the pitch. You saw lots of midfielders have left, so we needed to bring some midfielders in. Yaga Santiago, 23-year-old former Spanish under-19 international, came through at, or didn't come through at Tottenham, was at Celta, went to Tottenham for a long time, never really played, went to Albacete in Spain, and we brought him back to England, £1.3 million to play in our midfield. But then we got an I think it was like a £9.5, £10 million offer for Kitching, our centre-back, Liam Kitching. And I didn't really want to sell him because although we'd brought him 2 centre-backs, they were 2 young ones for the future. I didn't really want to let him go. So I agreed a price of 11.5 million. It was Burnley who wanted him, who are top of the Championship. He wanted to go. We agreed 11.5 million and then panicked a little bit and found Daniel Ballard at Bournemouth, who is an Arsenal youngster in real life, went to Bournemouth for £4.1 million, never really got in their team, but was on the transfer list at Bournemouth and looked really, really good. I mean, he's better than any other centre-back we've got at the club. He's a genuine improvement at 27 years old, 48 caps for Northern Ireland. So because he was a bargain at 1.4 million, the idea was we bring him in and then sell Kitching. So we brought him in And then we never got the £11 million offer for Kitching. Burnley just never came back after their £9.5 million. But by that point, I was like, well, I may as well sign Ballard anyway. And then as part of that searching, I found another what appeared to be a bargain in Reese Welsh at 23 years old at Everton. He's another big boy, another 6'5" centre-back. You know I can't resist when they're 6'5". But he was out of contract at Everton at the end of the season. We can get him for £250,000. I don't necessarily expect to ever really use Reese Welsh unless things get really desperate, because we didn't actually sell any of their centre-backs in the end. And we've got those other two youngsters who have got better potential than him coming through. What I'm thinking with Welsh is he cost £250,000. His price range is now 1.1 to 3.2. One of the club vision things is sign players and sell them on at a profit. Sign players to sell for a profit. Well, that's exactly what I've done with Reese Welsh. My thinking is we sign him, and then in the summer even, or this time next year, we sell him on for £1 million, £1.5 million, profit made, bored, happy. And then the final signing, I think, could go on to be an absolute superstar for us. Luanne Silva, 27-year-old Brazilian, who could play out wide on the left or as the attacking midfielder. He was still knocking around in Brazil at 27 years old and has only played 12 games in his career. Bear with me. I do think he could be very good. He is as good as Brewster, nearly as good as Anderson on the left-hand side of midfield. And as an attacking midfielder, he's right in the mix. As good as Rodoni, as good as McCormick. And again, it was a case of we had a little bit of money left. He was quite cheap. We needed another midfielder in. Having him in as an attacking midfielder means Rodoni and McCormick really don't need to worry about ever playing further forward. They're centre midfielders for us now. And it leaves our squad depth looking like this, which I actually think is not too bad. We have strengthened. We've got a better backup goalkeeper than we had before in Cox. We've got better options at centre-back now with Ballard in there and the youngsters ready to come through at some point as well. We've got more strength and depth in midfield. Rodoni, Anderson, McCormick, these are all considered central midfielders for us now, along with Clarkson and Santiago, who's new in. So despite selling like 3 or 4 centre mids, we're well covered there. And then the front four has been revolutionised. We've got Brewster, who, of course, has missed every game since the last episode with that injury he picked up. But John Jules has started scoring. Anderson is in and can play anywhere across the attacking midfield. Silva is in and can play in these attacking areas as well. And I just think we have strengthened throughout the team. Yes, we've spent a lot of money to do it, but that's what the board brought me in to do. We've spent 14 million. We've brought 1 million through the door. It's not something we can do all the time because we have accumulated some transfer debt while we did it. We only had a £9 million budget and spent 14. So they did have some transfer debt before me as well. But I think as a fresh through the door, you've got one transfer window to save your job and avoid relegation. I think that was pretty close to spot on. There's a couple that maybe we didn't need to do, like Kilic, like Welsh. They're not going to help us stay in the league this year, I don't think. But I'm not here just for 6 months. I want to do the short-term job and also start planning for the long-term job, which is why we brought in some youngsters as well. So that's the plan. Now we need to put the plan in action. An FA Cup run would be really nice. We've already knocked out Lincoln. We now face Forest, who are mid-table in the Championship. So not only does it help us move towards a cup run, but it's also an interesting test against a team that we'd like to think we're moving towards being as good as. So we play Forest first, then Middlesbrough. 2 wins, everyone's happy. And I'm happy because Brewster is sort of fit to be back in the team. He can only play a half. We want to play him for a half because we want to use him. We want to get him back fit again. So we're bringing Brewster back into the side. This is the first time he's played since his debut. So the team is Balcom in goal, a back four of Ullman, Kitchen, Ballard on his debut, and Ola Sunday. Santiago and Anderson together in midfield. I think it's only Santiago's second game. Yeah, only his second game. And then Gallagher, McCormick, and Nelson behind Brewster up front. And what I do need to do is make sure, where is John Jules? We probably want him on the bench to come on for Brewster at half time because he's the only other striker we've got who is any kind of goal threat. We've actually turned him into a half decent goal scorer over the last month or so. He is weighing in with a few goals. So we want him knocking around to come straight on at half time. And then we've got some of the other new boys knocking around and about around the place here. Luanne Silva is in. Oh, no. How has this happened? Cannot play for more than 2 teams in a season. He hasn't played for more than 2 teams in a season. How has this happened? He's played 3 times for a cash machine over the course of 2 years. How? What the hell has gone on here? This has got to be a glitch. A glitch that is going to hurt me. So he signed for ATM in July 2026 because of the stupid way the Brazilian leagues work. This would be his 3rd team. He was playing for them until July. So this time last year he was playing for SEP, then went to ATM. He didn't make a single... I mean, I would argue if he didn't play for them ever, then he wasn't... Who the hell are they? So we can't use him at all. We're paying him £8,000 a week. Can't use him at all until next season. Fantastic. Absolutely. That was £500,000 well spent. So re-recording that little bit at the start of the episode, he's another one who we're signing just to maybe sell on for a profit at some point. Get him into Europe, learn the language, acclimatise to the area, and then in the summer we might be able to sell him on for £1 million, £1.5 million. It was always part of the plan. He was never designed to play this season. Oh, what an expensive reserve he could be in League One. I mean, that's the thing. We've brought in some expensive players here. If we do end up getting relegated, probably ruined this football club for eternity, because we've gone from a squad of players that, I mean, it was very much a League One team playing in the Championship. Even the salaries suggested that. The majority of the players we've got rid of were on £3,000 or £4,000 a week. The majority of the players we've brought in are on £15,000 a week. So we've certainly leveled up the wage bill. Hopefully we've leveled up the quality as well. But if we do get relegated, it would be a disaster. I still don't think I'd be sacked, but I also don't think I'd relish the idea of trying to get this team promoted again with a really overpaid squad in the league below and a bunch of players who probably wouldn't want to be here. It would be the fire sale of all fire sales if we went down. And that would be interesting for sure. But let's not think in terms of potential relegation. We're not going to get relegated. That one man wasn't going to save our season. The team, the squad we've assembled is what's going to save the season. We have been drifting towards good form, as we were saying before, and that was before we'd even signed Ballard and Silva and Santiago even. That's got to be offside. I mean, it doesn't matter. The goalkeeper's made a good save anyway. Is it corner or is he giving it as offside? The linesman's wafting his flag around a little bit, but it looks like he is giving the corner. And cross comes in, and Ballard, not as massive as the other centre-backs we've brought in. We've brought him in for his quality rather than just his sheer physicality like we have with some of those younger players. But to be honest, as far as I'm concerned, if a young defender's 6'4", 6'5", you can teach him everything else. As the great prophet Enzo Amore once said, you can't teach that when referring to a tall man. And that's the thing with the centre-backs. If you get them in massive, then coach them for a few years, then they can get half decent. We've gone ahead here, Kitching with his first goal of the season, because that's the other thing we've done as well. We have absolutely loaded in new coaches, new scouts, off the field stuff. We have turned this club doesn't look anything like it did when I arrived. I'll show you the staff in and out page after this match, and every single one of them was done via job adverts and applications. We didn't touch the staff search screen. We never do, but we have pretty much in all areas got the best coaches in the league now, just through coaches applying for the job, including a really good fitness coach. So I'm hoping with a real top level fitness coach and focusing more on fitness and stuff in training, we should be able to do what we never quite managed to do at Leamington and actually get this team fit enough to be able to play this system consistently without getting really tired in the last 20 minutes. What we will never do, though, is learn to avoid conceding goals from that ball knocked over the top. We will always play a high defensive line because that's how I like to play. I like to be forward thinking, compress the play further forward. I want to be pushing on. I don't mind if there's a gap behind me. Occasionally we'll concede a goal that way. It's fine. We're not thinking in terms of how to avoid conceding goals. The game plan is how are we going to score goals. I've realised Brewster was supposed to come off at half time, I was too busy chatting. Let's take John Jules. Let's bring John Jules on. McCormick also needs to come on as well. Actually, we'll go 2 up top. Omatoy, what does he want to be? He wants to be a advanced forward as well. Can either of you good at being a pressing forward? I don't think I've played these as a front 2 before. We're going to make him a pressing forward. And we're going to go attacking. We don't really want to be going to replays. If we're going to win, we want to win now. So let's try and win now. That's the sensible course of action, I think. So let's encourage the entire team. We have gone 4-2-4 against their very defensive 5 at the back system. I'd like to think that our 4 should be able to get in and around their 3, but it doesn't look like that's the case. And I think we are going to go to a replay. Hopefully it's not going to be straight up next, because I want to show you that league game. If it is, we'll play it off camera and jump straight back into the league game, because we don't want to. We're more concerned with the league than the FA Cup. The league is far more important. Although a cup run is always fun. There you go. We've got Middlesbrough first anyway. So Middlesbrough, we'll play the replay off camera. If we get into the 5th round and it's an interesting tie, I'll show you that tomorrow. Otherwise, we'll let the FA Cup tick along in the background now. Because I think we've hit the target for the FA Cup anyway. What is the target? 4th round. Yeah, we've already hit our FA Cup target. From here on in, the full focus is on the league, starting with this upcoming victory against Middlesbrough, while I go and see if we can get Luis Silva registered somehow. It's Luanne Silva. I don't even know the man's name. Of course, being in the hat for the next round of the FA Cup means we can have a little look to see if there's a really interesting potential tie in the next round that might make me want to show you it in an episode. Yeah, see, Norwich away, not really that. So even if we beat Forest, I'm probably not going to show you Norwich, because it's not that fancy, is it? If we happen to beat Forest and Norwich and get through to what I think would be the quarter-final at that point, then we'll probably tune back into the FA Cup from there. Right, no changes for the Middlesbrough game then, as we try and establish a regular starting 11. I'm not sure that it will be this. Clarkson and Radoni and potentially Hughes are all players who probably have a good shout for being in a regular starting 11, but this is what we're going with for now. We need to continue to keep an eye on Brewster, who can only do 75 minutes today, and for some reason, selection advice keeps taking John Jules out of the substitutes, which is an odd one when he, like I say, he is our best goal threat outside of Brewster. We don't even know that Brewster's a goal threat yet. We just know he had a very good debut. It's difficult to judge him today because he's not fully fit for either of these matches. We're trying to play him back into fitness. 45 minutes in the first game, 75 minutes is what he should be allowed to play today. If he has a good game today, then imagine what it'll be like when he's fully fit again. Anderson is in here, bursting forward from central midfield, plays it back to Nelson, who has this shot that I thought the keeper had saved that, but it's gone for a goal kick, so it must have hit the post. Middlesbrough are a team who are hovering just outside the playoff spots, so they will fancy their chances today. But likewise, we're going to look at that and think, well, that's where we want to be. We want to be next season mid-table, upper mid-table, glancing up at the playoffs flirtatiously, occasionally. So if that's where we want to be, I don't anticipate spending anywhere near as much money in the summer as we've spent just now. So this is largely going to be the squad that we take into next season. So if we're going to be good enough to match up toe-to-toe with the likes of Middlesbrough next year, we kind of need to be getting in that direction now. So we're going to be looking for a result today. On a Sunday with the cross, Gallagher's there, and we know already how much of a threat in the air he can be, despite it defying all logic, because he's not particularly tall or particularly good at heading, but he's just always there or thereabouts winning his headers. And that is terrible defending from Ullman, I think that is, who I don't really know what he's tried to do there. I think it was Ullman. Let's have a look at it from the other angle, try and work out who's at fault here. It's just a launch forward from the goalkeeper. I know some of you will say I'm at fault for the high defensive line again, but what is that attempt at defending there from Ullman? He's kind of half watched the ball go over him and then swung his foot at a head height ball and stopped whilst doing it. And he was neck and neck with the attacker until he did that, and then just ridiculously let him run on. There's no logic behind it. And apparently that puts him on a 7.1, despite him giving the goal away. I don't understand the match engine sometimes. I try and judge everything by what I see in the match engine, and then you see something utterly illogical like that the one bad thing anyone's done today is by the player who's supposedly been the best man on the pitch for us. It makes no sense. Right, we are 1-0 down 25 minutes ago. We've gone attacking. We are going to make a couple of substitutions in a second, including taking Brewster off, who, again, has been very quiet today. Hopefully, we'll have him back in match fitness in short order so that he can start looking like the threat he looked like on that debut, because we've actually not looked as good since he's been back in the team, although he is in behind here. And, yeah, that's not a £5 million finish, is it? Imagine if we've broken him. Oh, I hope we've not broken him. We can't afford to have broken him, because I don't think we're going to be I won't say never. It's unlikely anytime soon we're going to be in a position to buy another £5 million player. So this one kind of needs to work out. Right. We are going to take him off. John Jules comes on up front again. Nelson is going to come off again. Radoni. It's not ideal playing him out wide. He is primarily an attacking midfielder, but we'll stick him where we need him, really. Clarkson can come on to allow Santiago to get more involved as the box-to-box midfielder. And we'll just hope that we conjure up a goal from somewhere in these last 10 minutes. It's not been the best result for us, really, if things stay as they are. But I guess playoff chasing team, it's not the end of the world to lose against a team like this. Losing Gallagher would be closer to the end of the world than losing to Middlesbrough. Right, let's get him forward as a Mazzala. He can go in the middle of these two as the deep line playmaker. And he can be a Mazzala on this side as well. And we'll just, I don't know, we'll do this. I don't know that that's going to be any more effective. It feels very old school Championship Manager doing a flat midfield three. You don't get a lot of flat midfield three anymore. We have looked pathetic in front of goal again today, though. Oh, it's not over. I thought that was the final whistle. There's still 2 minutes to go. It has been a theme of my time managing Peterborough that we are struggling for goals. And I am just hopeful that by the time we meet again in tomorrow's episode, we've got Brewster fully fit and he's solved that goal-scoring problem. Although I do worry that if Gallagher's now picked up a knock that's going to keep him out for a while, that's the other part of the attack that worked so well on both their debuts. It was the link-up play between Gallagher and Brewster that looked so dangerous when they were both on their debut. It would be very upsetting if Brewster comes back to full fitness just as Gallagher's out for 4 to 7 weeks. We're not getting a lot of luck, are we? Right. We will be back tomorrow, somewhere roughly halfway between now and the end of the season, and hopefully we'll have picked up a few wins. The good thing is when you're down in the relegation battle, you lose a game and most of the teams around you lose as well. So despite disappointment, we are still 7 points clear of Birmingham. So I don't think we're going to get relegated. Let's hope we don't get sucked into it. If you've enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.